All right, let's go. So, welcome to another episode of eCom Reality, where we talk all things e-commerce, Shopify, Meta ads, Google ads, CRO, email, whatever is necessary. So, in this one, let's talk about ads, creatives in general, because probably the title of this video will be something along the lines of how to launch 520 ads for a brand. And where does that number actually come from, right? Just to give you an idea. It's not that hard if you do the math. So it's basically 520 ads a year, which comes at around 10 ads a week, which is not a lot, honestly. I mean, depending on the brand, depending on the e-com brand, if you're a smaller one, a bigger one, this might actually seem like a very, very small number. And I'm saying that because I just launched probably 1 hour ago, let me think. And today is a Saturday, by the way. So I probably launched around 20 ads for this brand, and probably earlier in the week around 10, 20 more, right? And I've done it myself, even though recently I've just started working with, let's say, marketing assistant, who is basically going to slowly become a media buyer, because that's a very valuable skill. Unfortunately, launching ads is the easiest part, but it's time consuming. But let's keep this on track. So why should you launch, first of all, around at least 520 ads a week, 520 ads a year, right? Because I would say that's almost the minimum to some extent. And let me tell you why. Because 10 ads a week means, let's say, maybe 2 or 3 angles. And for each angle, you have, let's say, 3 to 5 ads, which is not a lot. Like, as an example, let's say you want old me, new me type of ad, right? So you're showing the old version of something and then the new one. So for example, just real quick, even though I'm not necessarily a creative strategist, right? So I'm not the best example here. However, if I were to think of something right now, it would be old me drinking coffee, new me drinking some kind of elixir, that has probably mushrooms, who knows, matcha, whatever you prefer. Nowadays it's mostly ashwagandha, to be honest. And basically, for that type of ad, you can have like 5 images, which is not that hard to create. If you have a designer, creative strategist who knows what they're doing, it's that easy to make them. So something that can be done quickly. And think of it, 5 ads is not even that much, because basically you could have the same type of ad, but with 5 different images on it, right? Like different images with people, different images with the product, a bunch of variations, right? So this is where marketing actually becomes really interesting, because you have so many options. You have color variations, copy variations, image variation, and then you have images or videos, right? And that's why I'm not necessarily like a great strategist. I'm more of a like growth strategist, so thinking more so about the business. But the creative is definitely one of the most important aspects nowadays, because on most of my accounts actually that I work with on eCom, most of the ads, most of the budgets are on Meta. There's also an opportunity on Google, exactly because it's slightly harder. You need VSLs and so on. So that's a whole other thing. But that's why most brands will just grow alone with Meta ads, because you can test very quickly. You can get data really quickly. And that's why I was saying that I launched earlier some ads, because did I have to? Not necessarily, but if you want to win, you definitely need to launch more. I mean, 520 is just like a benchmark. It's not the best number. It's just a good number for a YouTube video, for example. But when it comes to actually doing it, it will always depend, right? That's why you won't really have a cookie cutter answer. That's why people pay agencies, even email marketing agencies, 3,000, 5,000, right? It's a higher ticket. And honestly, it's really easy to do email. I can actually tell you the process. You do some briefing on ChatGPT, then you basically give that to a designer. You give them some inspiration, they create some designs, then you revise them, you implement them in Klaviyo or whatever you're using, Omnisend, and then schedule it and launch it. You know, like honestly, it's not that hard. So this is where things become easy after you've done them for such a long time. And it's the same with ads. I'm saying 520, and for some people this might seem like a big number. For some people this will seem like a very low number, and that's mostly based on perspective, right? Because think of it, if you've launched for a brand in the past like 2,000 ads a year, right? Like 520 will seem like a small number, right? So that's why over time you actually get better, because you tend to see what's possible. Because right now, myself, I shouldn't be launching 15 ads, right, in a weekend, honestly. Like, this is such a low value activity, I would say, that probably, you know, someone who is paid, let's say, $3, $5, $7, $8 an hour could probably do it, you know? So it's honestly something really easy. Like, that's why I'm training other people to launch ads and other things, because I mean, these are not the harder things. The harder things are actually like analyzing data, as an example. That's, I would say, a higher value skill, because with data, fortunately or unfortunately, there are multiple ways to go about it. For example, if something looks good now, it doesn't mean it can look good 30 days from now. And the opposite as well. If something looked good 30 days ago or for the last 30 days, it doesn't mean it will look better around this time as well, right? So this is where allocating budget to the right ads is a totally different skill, and that's actually one of the highest value skills possible. Because honestly, like, almost anyone can launch ads, you know, like I've taught someone in a week to do that. That's the easier part. The harder part is actually going back, looking at data, and how often will you look at it? Once a day, 2 times a day, once a week? These are the questions that most e-com brand, like operators, founders, need to ask themselves, because I'm also trying to make sure there's a system, right? Like a guideline, a rule, a process, and at the same time, you need to make sure that you have it exactly as long or as short as it should be. Because if you add too many steps, people will just fall off from doing it. You know, that's why, for example, I don't use ClickUp or project management tools, especially for like a boutique agency, because it's not necessary. It just adds complexity. And I know when you add complexity, most people will just not do it. And also because I just don't like my team or myself to overwork ourselves when it's not necessary, right? And each with their own, but I don't like time tracking, for example, right? I prefer to trust my team and actually give them ownership than being like a time tracker and not letting them take a 30-minute break whenever they want, you know, like, and this is coming from a European, which is probably not a surprise, but at the same time, even when working with people from Asia, I know that they would prefer more freedom as well, right? I mean, it's just like human nature, but you just have to experience it. And of course, once you experience freedom, you won't really give it away so easily. So basically, this was, as always, a video about multiple things at the same time, but I did want to mostly focus on creative because you just have to launch more ads. There's definitely a diminishing return at one point, right? That's why I said maybe 10 a week, because that could mean anywhere between 2 or 3 angles. And if you have someone dedicated to this, of course, it's not hard. I mean, they probably just need to spend 2 hours a day let's say to create a strategy, then let's say another 2 hours to create the ads, or maybe 4 hours, right? But it's under 8 hours regardless, right? So this is where you need to do the math and understand what's possible and even what's required, because sometimes, yeah, it's possible to do a bunch of things, but how many of them are really necessary, you know? So these are the questions I ask myself, and these are the type of videos that we make around here, mostly about strategy, not just tactics. So with that being said, if you enjoyed this one, you can leave a like. If you want to leave any kind of comment, could be a simple 1, 2, 3, whatever you like, probably helps the algorithm. And until next time, peace out.